Slackers are living the high life in Colorado. Recreational use of marijuana now officially legal in the state that gave us Rocky Mountain High. And Bud Brothers are lining up out the door. It is a budding business expecting to rake in millions of dollars. But as usual, the government's greedy hands are all over it. Will the slew of onerous new rules be a buzzkill for the new market? Aaron Houston is a board member at the Marijuana Majority, and he joins me now. Thanks for being with us, Aaron. And, you know, the thing that surprises me is I think our government over 40 years or so has spent $1 trillion on enforcement, and I thought that with an approach like Colorado, finally you stop all this. But it turns out they're putting in sensors to track the pot. They're worrying about contamination. They're putting in all kinds of processes when millions of people have been buying pot on the black market for 30, 40 years with no problem. Why is government doing this?
Well, this is, of course, a balancing act. We're coming out of 75 years of federal prohibition of marijuana, which has led to a black market with ill consequences associated with that, with drug cartels getting 60% of their profits from marijuana sales alone. So it's not a black and white issue. It's not either the cartel's selling it and that's okay somehow, or we legalize it and have to have onerous restrictions. There's an in-between point. Of course, the restrictions in Colorado have caused some hurdles. There have been some regulatory hurdles there that may not be reflective of a perfect system, but this is much better than prohibition. It's much better in any case than throwing humans in cages for the simple crime of putting marijuana into their bodies.
Yeah,
but these are laboratories of democracy.
Yes, well, you know what? It's a budding business in Colorado. We have a chart on this. They're expecting marijuana sales, legal sales, to come close to $600 million and tax revenue to be maybe $67 million. This, I guess, in the first year. Now, for decades, it seems like the main push for decriminalizing marijuana was so you don't put people into jail for such a small crime. But now that states want to share the tax revenue, and you saw that $67 million figure, it seems like states are more interested in stamping out the black market so they can make sure that they increase sales of the legal stuff and get their own taxes. What do you say?
There's certainly an incentive to state governments in having a steady, sturdy taxation scheme associated with marijuana, with regulating it and taking it out of the illicit market. It's also worth keeping in mind that we are trying to regulate marijuana both at the state level and really more at the federal level via Congressman Jared Polis's H.R. 499, the Ending Federal Marijuana Prohibition Act, basically to let each state decide their own policies, just as they do with alcohol. You know, most Americans aren't aware that until 1966, Mississippi actually banned alcohol sales. Until 1987, point of consumption sales, open bars in Kansas were illegal. So we actually have a system under our federal law, alcohol law, that allows states to set their own policies. And that's what we're doing with marijuana as well. And as we move forward, we're going to see different states experimenting in different ways, no doubt.
You don't think one federal policy kind of uniting it might be the better way to go? Are we going to get burned where Colorado takes the registered name of every medicinal pot user, then a new president comes into office and decides, unlike President Obama, I'm going to enforce the federal law that still makes pot a crime?
Well, that may sound good, but the problem is that if we were to have a uniform system of regulation throughout the country, which I actually think would probably be unconstitutional because of the traditional role of states having policing powers under the Constitution, that might be a worse system actually for freedom and liberty, because they could, the feds could have a uniform system of banning it.
Yes,
worse.
Aaron. All right, states' rights, the chronic, bong use, all of it. All right, thanks very much.